Roland here with Be Woke Vote. Really glad to have you here. There are very few cities that when you say the name of that city, it evokes politics. I don't think there's any other city in America that does that other than the city of Chicago. My next guest, of course, she hails from the Windy City. And joining us right now is Lisa Ray. What's happening?
What's going on?
You all good?
I am.
All right.
Thanks for that.
I started that way because, look, I spent 6 years in Chicago. And everything about Chicago is politics. Everything.
Okay.
You can't avoid politics being from Chicago.
And then Obama's from Chicago.
Obama's from Chicago, the dailies. I mean, you just go on the machine
Washington.
Politics.
Yep.
Harold Washington, of course, getting elected in 1983. I mean, you just go down the line again, just how everything, the neighborhoods, everything is tied into the political machines there.
Definitely. We're that melting pot. I know that they are used to calling New York that, but we're the center, we're the Midwest. Yeah.
One of the things that jumps out, also that I found to be interesting when I spent the time there, was when you look at the racial split. You talk about melting pot, but Chicago has long been called the most segregated city in America. When Harold Washington, Congressman Harold Washington was running, how polarizing it was. And we're talking about the 80s. We're not talking about 60s or 70s. And you still see that. You still see, and it's very much South Side, West Side, North Side. I mean, you get these clear lines of demarcation in Chicago.
And I don't think that you really realize that when you're growing up in it, when you're younger. You just think, okay, let me go to the North Side because the North Side is where the white people are and it's cleaner there, so let me go up there. And you think, well, do we need to take a page out of their notebook to keep our beaches the same way? Like, you don't really realize the West Side is, we heard the West Side is the worst side. It's the bad side, so be careful, pack when you go into the West Side. South Side is cool, it's more chill, that kind of thing. But when you get older, then you ask yourself, well, why is that? And you see the change of it, because when I went home this last couple of months or so, they're calling Chicago Chirac now. And I kind of take offense to that because it's like, is it that bad? What's really going on over
Spike
there?
Lee did a movie dealing with the issue of violence there in Chicago.
Yeah, and actually I think also Common has a show called The Chi that is actually showcasing Chicago's
he's
violence.
about Lena Waithe with that particular show. But the thing that I that still jumps out when you talk about these differences, when you talk about the separation there, when people talk about even the violence in Chicago, every time Donald Trump runs his mouth about it, folks don't want to deal with the reality of the economic and the racial and the educational split that exists. You can talk about violence in Chicago, but you have to deal with the housing policies, the economic policies, jobs, O'Hare, what that has meant for that whole area. And then when former Congressman Jesse Jackson Jr. was trying to build this South Side airport, no, that's not going to happen. I mean, it's just this constant battle dealing with these forces that produce that level of violence.
Okay, well, here's one thing, and I'm glad that actually you and I are sitting down because you are unapologetically who you are. You are politics. You are our voice. You are our anchor. So even sitting here, I feel like I want to be like this. But the reality of it is that we don't know any better. And sometimes we're not educated. We don't know. Some of the things that you're saying, I'm going, But I'm not afraid to be able to say, yeah, I don't know anything about that. Because just because I live there doesn't mean that I know about it or that someone told me. Me, honestly, I don't even watch the news. I don't like the news. My mother keeps me current on what's going on because I'm too sensitive of a person. But because the climate of our nation now, and with Trump just running his mouth and saying senseless things and crazy things and being, that is just another subject of talking about him, but it's so unbelievable till I feel like I need to be able to watch, but no one knows the climate of what O'Hare meant to Chicago and why that Jesse Jackson Jr. couldn't make an airport on the South Side. Nobody knows that. Who's talking about that? And if you're talking about it, are you talking about it in a way in which these people can relate?
Right.
Because automatically, if you put someone up there that don't look like I am, I do, and don't sound the way that I sound, and can break it down to me, I'm not listening. You lose me.
It's funny you talk about not knowing. So when I first moved to Chicago to run the Chicago Defender, I didn't have my car. And so I probably rode public transportation more in that first year than I did my whole life. Because my dad was like, no, you ain't riding the bus. But, so I lived downtown. So I took the bus downtown to the Chicago Defender office. So one day I was on a bus, and it was a brother who was a bus driver. And he said, Mr. Martin, he said, you see that brother right there? He said, his ass completely lost. I said, what do you mean? He said, oh, I can't even tell you the number of brothers and sisters who are from Chicago who never come downtown. He said, it is as if this is a foreign land to them. And so, of course, asking a question, I said, well, why? He said, because if you study these neighborhoods, everything was in the neighborhoods. The grocery store, the clothing stores. He said there was no need. And I was working with one of my coworkers, and I told her to come pick me up somewhere downtown. She's like, I don't know where I'm going. I said, Erica, girl, you damn near 40 years old, and you from here. How I know the city streets better than you do? She said, we didn't go downtown. And it was just an amazing statement, and it shows how folks stay in their places, if you will, and are just not aware of these other things that are happening.
People ask me about the Chicago projects, Cabrini Green. I know about it. I ain't never been there. I drove past it, but I ain't never stopped. Never wanted to. And I never had anyone there that made me say, you need to stop here to visit me or to see how this is. So it was like, you stay focused. And like you said, everything is in your neighborhood. And that's how it is now. Everything is your neighborhood. You go to the cleaners in your neighborhood. You go to the grocery store in your neighborhood. You go to the dentist in your neighborhood. But if you wanted to step outside of that and go to the higher echelon of it, then you go to their neighborhood. Because we think that they're more educated than we are. And it's better over there and not in our neighborhood.
When I talked to the brother who had all jokes aside, and what was interesting in our conversation, I saw the documentary, then he did his book, and I had it on my show. And again, reading that book, he talked about when he decided to move the club. Very successful, and tried to get a location on the north side of Chicago, and how the white folks there completely shut it down. They put up every roadblock, and he never opened the club. Club never reopened because they were like, no, y'all ain't bringing those people
down
here. Even though he said when black people came to my club, they were dressed up. It was like they were going to church. They said, no, you ain't bringing that over here. And people, when we were talking about that, people said, wait, hold up, that was happening like recently. I'm going, yes. I'm like, don't get confused by the pretty flowers on Michigan Avenue. I said, you still have this racial stratification. You still have folks who say, no, y'all need to stay in y'all place.
Now, I would be one to say, how did that happen?
Politics, power, aldermen being in control.
And so when you have that meeting with the alderman is just sitting there saving face because he has a higher person that's telling him no. So you say no, so it trickles down to no.
No, the alderman flat told him point blank, it's not going to be built here. He said they were denying permits, they were denying liquor license. They put every roadblock because their deal is crime is going to increase, all these different things because this successful black comedy club dared cross 22nd Street.
Now, did they say that? Did they say that to him?
Oh, yes.
Or did they try? They said that?
Oh, yes. They made it perfectly clear.
Because my thing would be, well, maybe they want the land for themselves, because we all know that when they get ready to come back into the neighborhood and clean it up, that then they are trying to keep everybody out. And so then they do.
He was moving it from the south side to the north side. He was moving it, and their deal was like, no, y'all need to stay on your side of town. And what was interesting when I moved there, so I remember Jesse Jackson Jr. and we sat down, and he said, You ever see the tourist map? I said, what do you mean? He said, let me show you. So he pulls the tourist map out. And this was the map that you got when you rented a car, you came to the city.
Oh, I know what you're going to say, but go ahead.
It literally stopped at 22nd Street. He had all these attractions in Chicago.
Science of Museum of Industry.
You ain't going, forget Bronzeville, forget anything that was
Hyde Park.
23rd.
Yeah.
Literally, it stopped right there. He said, and that's what the city of Chicago is telling visitors. This is the only thing you need to see in this city, just right here. That still is driven by politics. And it was hard when I ran the Defender to get folk to understand that you better hold people accountable because their political decisions are affecting you economically.
Okay. So then I would say, because I'm going to play devil's advocate here.
Go ahead.
I would say, okay, then how do I do that? Because if I take a meeting with my alderman and my alderman has been told no, and they sit in my face and say no, where am I to go after that? What am I to do? How do I make a change?
And that's where the mobilization comes from. That's where it comes. Because see, that alderman still has to run. Mm-hmm. That mayor still has to run. And in fact, anybody who studies Harold Washington, what did he tell them? He said, okay, y'all won't change? Okay, fine. Go out and register X thousand number of people to vote and raise X amount of money. He thought that would never happen. Then they came back and they said, all right, we registered 50,000 people and we raised the money. And he was like, oh, but damn, I guess I got to run now. See, because he literally said, I'll run if y'all do these two things. And then they did. I think what still impacts and what creates change is when we mobilize. When we say we're not powerless, and if I get with you and you and you, and all of a sudden it's 10, then 20, then 100, then 500, then 2,000, then 5,000, all of a sudden you have mobilized people, that creates that voting power. And then when you throw somebody out, it catches their attention real quick.
But not only just that, they have to know what it is that they're standing for. Because if you have friends that talks politics, then of course we're having a decent conversation and I'm being educated at the same time. But if my group of people are not talking about that, then I still don't know. So I can unite with you, and then I'm making sure that you have the voice, but what if you don't have the courage to speak? So you're still getting a group of people together that don't know how to do nothing.
For you, what do you recall the first time you voted? Mm-hmm. When was it?
Well, let me say this. I've always voted because my mama made me to. But the first time I really gave a damn, honestly, Clinton.
Bill Clinton.
Yep.
92.
Yep.
So
I used to vote for who my mama voted for.
So growing up, that was practice. Mm-hmm. She voted. Mm-hmm. Did you ever go to the polls with her?
Yes.
When she voted? Mm-hmm. And so did she say, look, we're going? She
would make me sit and watch the different speeches that they would have throughout the time. And then I assume as a kid I would go in and out of, what is this and why, da-da-da-da kind of thing. And as I got older, she wanted to make sure that my vote counted. So it was like, come on. And it was like, okay. But it wasn't until Bill Clinton got into office, and really, 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 until Obama got into office, till I really started being more educated about the process and how it helps and how it works and how my voice is really heard through my vote. Because he actually tackled social media and used that to get to us in a way that spoke. He spoke our language. And it wasn't just and only because he was a black man running for president, but I remember hearing his speeches and understanding what he was saying. And it wasn't foreign to me, and I didn't have to break it down or look in the dictionary or feel ignorant because I didn't know what he was saying. Yeah, maybe some of the words was kind of too big, but overall I was like, I get the message here. I understand here. And I'm going to tell you this story too. My first piece of property that I bought back in Chicago had a condo. My tax bill came. And I would look and it said, you paying taxes on the library and the fire department. And I kept saying, I ain't never had no fire. I don't need the fire department. And I quit going to the library a long time ago. I don't need this, you know. And my mother said, "Girl, don't be no damn fool." That's what she said. You know. And then for me, it was like, right. This is where our tax dollars go to. This is how our buildings, the public buildings, are paid for. Then that is what made me go, oh, girl, learn more. Find out where your money's going. But it wasn't until I became independent and they started messing with my money that I really cared. So
but the key there though is not just messing with your money. You were an owner. See, when this is what I tell people all the time. In America, they care about homeowners. Because homeowners and business owners own stuff. When you're renting, it's a whole different conversation because you're transient. You can come and go. But the person who owns, their deal is like, no. I want this to be of value, so I'm going to need that cleaned up. I'm going to need that looking good. It's a different attitude politically how they treat people who own versus they treat how people who rent.
I learned that too. And really, that is one of the reasons why I'm using my platform as an artist, as an actress, to be able to speak to the people that can relate to Lisa Ray. That whatever I'm learning and whenever I'm learning it, I'm able to share it with someone because no one did for me and with me.
Earlier you talked about having friends and then folks not being in our space talking about that. When I talked to Erica Ash, she said, look, you got to have at least that one person in your crew who they are the information source. That's like, we got a question, we go to them, because there are lots of people who don't have that. And when you hear that phrase, you don't know. When you don't know, you don't know. And unfortunately, that's the case.
That is.
And then people then wonder, well, how did this happen? How did this happen? It's because, and I hate to use the word ignorant because people hear that, they go, oh my God, how dare you call me ignorant? But when we are not fully aware, that's how we get taken.
Yeah, but you have to have something that has taken place that you care about to be able to stand for. Because like you said, those renters, they don't know. So really, they're walking around oblivious because their focus ain't that. Their focus is where's the next place that they can be transient at? Where's the next place that I can rent at? They're not even thinking about owning until and when they do, then things change. So you have a whole host of people over here that's like, and those are the people that we need to go, hey, we trying to talk to you. We got to talk to those people. We have to sit down and have conversations like this so when they see somebody that they can relate to, and it's like, oh, let me see what Lisa Ray is talking about. Let me see what Tiny's talking about. Let me see what Roland is saying. Then it's like, okay, it's like music. My mother used to always say, if you knew your lesson, how you know that music? And I would always go, if they put the music to my lesson, why don't we hit them in ways in which that we know it will affect them? And that's what Obama did. That's exactly what he did.
Well, it's interesting you say that. There's a sister, the charter schools. Well, their teaching model was based upon one of the co-founders. He was a teacher, public school teacher, traditional school, and he heard all this noise coming across the hallway. He was like, "What the hell is going on?" So he walks out of his classroom. He walks into the next classroom and he sees this sister, and she's teaching, but she's using music, rap, and rhythm to teach the kids mathematics, to teach them languages and social sciences. And literally, he's watching her using that creativity to teach. And then a light bulb goes off, and that is what started the creation of KIPP. Their teaching methods today are based upon just what you described. This teacher using rhythm, using music to teach. Her deal is, I don't care how you get it, long as you get it. I think part of the issue for us these days is that we get so caught up in, it has to be this way for folks to be aware of what's going on in politics. As opposed to, no. I've got to figure out multiple ways to communicate with people so they understand it.
And I'll tell you this, and I always say this, I go, okay, once we march, once we petition, now
Then
what?
what? Mm-hmm.
Now what? Because I still don't know what's going on. Not me personally, but people. Okay, I'll stand with you, but what else? And I often now think, who is our voice today? After the Jesse Jacksons, after you, after Reverend Al Sharpton, who will the millennials have to represent them? And it's scary. It's scary to me because even some of the things and the way that they think, I'm thinking, even as far as customer service, it's almost like, you don't even want to do this. You don't even know why you're doing this. You don't even know why you're here. So you're not talking to me correctly because you have no respect, because you didn't even grow up that way. You don't know what that is. You want to be equal, but you don't want to give into. You don't want to roll up your sleeves and be able to handle some things. You just want it to be passed over to you because there's a sense of entitlement there.
When we think about political involvement, now when I moved to Chicago, I wasn't aware of this, but it was through reading of several different books and talking to people.
You was just smart, huh?
Well, I read stuff all the
A couple of
time.
books,
I read stuff all the time. But it was stunning to learn how political the gangs in Chicago were.
The what?
The gangs.
The what?
The gangs.
Oh, gangs. Oh.
They were literal political organizations. To read these politicians who went to these dominant gangs, and they were turning out votes. They were putting their gang members as political foot soldiers and played critical roles in folks getting elected. I'm reading this and I'm sitting there going, yo, this is wild, because again, what we've always been taught, oh, no, those folks, they're thugs, they're gangsters or whatever, but they understood, wait a minute, we have a machine just like you, a political machine. Mm-hmm. Just like the police union has a political machine. And so the gangs in Chicago had political operations. I'm watching a documentary, the exact same thing happened in Jamaica when Michael Manley was first elected as prime minister. Mm-hmm. The gangs in Jamaica played a role in his election. And I'm sitting there and I'm going like, yo, that is wild. And so it caused me, again, to get people to understand, you have to think that, wait a minute, they're an organization, they've got members, they've got hierarchy. And
they have power.
And leadership says, do this, they do. And they have power, and they understand power and how to use it.
That's true. That's right. And they want to be involved in the community because whatever that they're doing organized-wise, they want to have somebody on their side as well. Organized crime.
Right. When we think about organization, we're seeing now a lot of black women not waiting for somebody to say, hey, we want y'all help. We're seeing Adrian Shropshire. We're seeing DeWanna Watson. We're seeing Stephanie James. We're seeing Latasha Brown. We're seeing these sisters all across the country. They're raising money. They are organizing, mobilizing. They're using social media. They are reaching and touching a new generation saying, look, ain't nobody going to save us but us. And so it's time for us to actually mobilize. When you hear about sisters like that, who are modern day Fannie Lou Hamers, modern day Septima Clarks, modern day Diane Nashes, how does it make you feel?
Go ahead, Roland. Go ahead. I'm just like, you know who I like? Angela Rye. And I think because she speaks to the voice of this generation. So she's young enough to still remember what that is, but yet old enough to be able to speak it in a way in which we respect as well. I think it's time for women to stand up. I think behind a powerful man is also a powerful woman. I think and believe in being evenly yoked, and I believe in teamwork makes the dream work. So you can't do it by yourself, and it's been proven. So now we have to stand up. We have to, being a new millennial woman, you got to be able to be independent. So if you're independent and you're standing by yourself, you have to mobilize each other and say, okay, I need you, and us together is more powerful together. I think that that's important, and that one of the reasons why even sitting here is because I'm utilizing what I know. I'm being able to speak about something that I used to didn't do, that I can say, yeah, that was me, but it's okay now because I know better now, and you can too. I'm able to say that so they can relate to what I'm saying, so I can capture their attention and be able to knock on their door and say, hey, you with me? And now they feel more apt to pay attention and more apt to be able to go out there and say, oh, well, just maybe, because she said, and I'm a fan of hers, so the connection is, well, okay, what do I have to lose? Because sitting at home is what you're losing out on. And a lot of them don't even know how important the vote is. It's like, well, you know what, if I don't, ain't nobody going to miss my vote. Until you have a 50-50 share and it's 49 and 51 and you're like, oh, then you got to feel like an ASS and go, see.
Go to case in Virginia where literally a seat was determined by a coin flip.
Exactly.
It was tied.
Yep.
They ended up tied. You talked about not being afraid to ask somebody when you don't know. We were over here chatting earlier. You like, okay, look, how long you here? Because we got to talk. Because we've had other conversations before where you're like, hey, I want to talk about this. I've had those conversations. Napoleon Hill in his book, Think and Grow Rich, says have a mastermind group of people who are smarter than you who you can ask stuff of. How would you encourage somebody who says, Lisa Ray, look, I'm afraid to ask. I don't know. I don't want to feel stupid. How would you encourage them to say, it's okay to expand your horizons and open your mind to receive new information?
Well, see, your experience and your mistakes speaks volume to me. And so when you automatically know that I've been there, done that, I'm more apt to listen to somebody that has been there, done that, opposed to somebody else that's just skated on through, or it was just very easy for you to go through. I want to speak to that person that had a little trouble. You know what I mean? And so now that's encouraging. But aside from that, then let me take that person's hand and let me be the person, the leader. I'll ask you a question for you. You just take notes for me. Therefore, we got it. Let's take it a step further instead of being the crabs in the barrel. Let's find a friend then that can ask. Let's Google. Let's look it up. Let's read. Let's pay attention to the news. Let's, because there's other options. You don't have to be embarrassed by being in the forefront and saying, okay, because you might not even know what to ask. You may know that you're just confused and you don't know anything. And so that's scary within itself, because if you're in a room and they're speaking and you're going, and you know nothing, it's no question that's going to come to your mind at all. But you got to be able to say, what did he just say? And grab a little something and hold on to that one thing and be able to build off of that. We have to be able to encourage our people to do so.
Also, just being straight up. So just letting some folks know, look, if you try to make me feel stupid, we're going to have a problem. So everybody know, I ain't fixing nothing, okay? I prayed to God a long time ago for me to make enough money to do three things. One, to call somebody else to fix whatever I need to be fixed. Two, to valet park. Because then you're nothing worse growing up and your daddy, your mama parking way the hell over here. It's like, why in the hell we got to walk way over here? Can we park up close? Okay. And third, be able to Houston run your air conditioner all damn day because it's too hot. So those were the three things. So when I was living at my home in Dallas area, something was wrong in our kitchen sink. And now my wife, she lived at Home Depot. I'm talking about Home Depot to her like the library to me. She just at home. I ain't fixing stuff. But her and my sister were doing something and they were not trying to fix something under the sink. I said, man, let me go fix this damn thing so I can cook me something to eat. Okay. So I go to Home Depot and I'm sitting here in the store and I'm like, okay, got this pipe, I gotta cut it. So the guy, I said, look, man, I need to cut this pipe. You're gonna need a hacksaw. And I go, what's a hacksaw? You don't know what a hacksaw is? I said, God damn it, no, I ain't doing what a hacksaw is. I said, if your ass asked me how to start a newspaper, I can tell you how to do the whole damn thing. Your ass here at Home Depot. Now, tell me where the goddamn hacksaw is so I can go home and cut this damn pipe.
He didn't show you where it was.
You damn right he did. You damn right I got to cuss him out. Because my dude's like, man, this ain't what I do. Mm-hmm. But I had no problem saying, what's a hacksaw? Because I was not about to walk around Home Depot. I'm afraid, so I don't want to embarrass myself. Man, show me where it is, and don't even tell me the aisle. Walk me to it.
But again, though, it's the temperature of how we deal with each other. We are the ones that make each other feel crazy and stupid and uneducated. We do that to each other. So yeah, I could feel that way. But how I do it, because I get nervous energy sometimes, you know, and then I get funny when I'm nervous. So it's almost like, girl, I don't know anything about that, but what is it? Tell me. Because I be saying, because for real, I don't. For real. You know what I mean? And then they go, you do go. It's like, no, girl, I don't. Wait for it. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. But maybe even give them tactics. Almost like when you go to a therapist. A therapist gives you skills to try out. She gives you homework. Go home and try this way, and then come back to me and let me know if it works. You know what I mean? We need to be able to give them tasks to be able to do. Mm-hmm. You know, I think that'd be a fun way. Right now, everybody wants things to be easy because we've had a hardship for a long time, and it's a lot going on right about now. You know what I mean? So it's hard to stay encouraged in the climate that we're in. If we allow things to be fun and feel light, then maybe we can get more people on board. But it's almost like when you make it too serious and too politickish, it's like, well, I'm out of my league automatically, so I'm gonna turn the channel or I'm gonna turn my back. Put somebody up there who I feel like gonna make me laugh.
Right.
Tell the comedians to start joking about the politics so I can laugh at what's going on too, but then the message is still there. Let's find other ways to do this thing.
Earlier you talked about seeing that tax bill and you like, where is my money going? Library and fire. What are the three most important issues for you? The three things you care about the most that you want to see changed?
Elderly, dealing with them. You know, when you're young, you just do not think the same way when you get mature. And when someone that you love, you see them deteriorating and you see them going through a hard time.
They used to care for you, now you got to care for them.
You think about chivalry. You know, you think about the other day I was driving down, you know, one of the LA streets here, and I saw one of the older ladies, and she had 2 bags, and she was moving awfully slow. And I stopped, and I said, ma'am, I want to take you to where you're going. I said, and you can hold my license. I'm not crazy, and I'm not going to do anything to you, but I want to take you the way you're going. She said, baby, bless you. And the entire time that she got in my truck, I was in complete tears. Because I could only think about my mother. And would anybody stop now to help my mother? We have no regard for people anymore. Mm-hmm. And it's sad. Even when you go to the airport, they've taken away the guys that take your bags. And I keep thinking, what would the elderly do? How are they to get around? How are they to get their bags? Mm-hmm. Things are changing so much, and they've taken things into robots or computers and taking the human out of the job environment. Mm-hmm. Well, now we're not communicating with each other. It's just a machine. So there's no human touch anymore that brings about emotion and compassion. The elderly. Health. I want everybody to be able to have health care, because as surely as we're going to be on this earth, it is too much that is endangering us, from the food that we eat to the air that we breathe. They are killing us. Mm-hmm. So we're going to be sick. So if it's not your time, and if you went to school to be a doctor, why is it so much about the money? Why can't you see this person came through the emergency room and they are deadly sick, and you got the power to be able to help them, but you won't because the insurance didn't clear? What kind of doctor are you? Why did you go to school anyway?
To the elderly, we got health care. Number 3.
Education. Education. There's so much that's being taken away from our school system. They took out music, physical ed. You know, there's things that these kids need to replace some of the things that don't even matter in the school system. Teach them how to finance their home. Mm-hmm. Teach them how to change a tire. Teach them how to balance a checkbook. Teach them life skills. Equip them with those things. So when they go to the next level is responsible for giving them the next level to level up.
So you mentioned homework and a test. So the final task for you is a test. So a young sister comes up to Lisa Ray.
Are you timing me?
Oh, no. You about to get time. So a young sister comes up to you, a young brother. Oh, my God, I love you. I love your work. And then you ask them, do you vote? And they say, no, I don't. So you've got 30 seconds, Lisa Ray, to tell them why they must vote. Go.
Oh my God, what if there was a difference between you making that final vote is yours and it making the difference between who you need and who you want that's going to make a change and what your goals would rely on for the future to be? You got to know that your vote is important just like everybody else. You're a number in this world and it matters. So you have to. We're going to make it easy for you. It's in your neighborhood. Come on, go with me. Pre-register. You may not even have to go, but I can have it come to your house and you can do an absentee ballot. Come on, let's make it easy for you. We need you.
29 seconds. Lisa Ray, good chat with you.
Thank you so much.
You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it. Hey fam, want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered, the blackest show on all of digital, cable, and broadcast. Check out our audio podcast. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Press play. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.